On this HCW podcast, we will be covering WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, WWE Raw, and Dynamite. Roll the intro. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about to go down.
Ladies and gentlemen. Representing Honor Club, and you're listening to the HCW Podcast.
Hello guys, welcome back to the HCW Podcast. My name is RGX, joined by my co-hosts Rozzy, DP and Great Wrestle, who all have cameras now. Rejoice!
You've already jinxed it.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
All good, mate. Just like we're running late purely because of me, so I will take the full blame for that. But yeah, it's been a long week, which I'm sure you agree.
Yeah, very much so. How about yourself, Ray?
I'm tired. We're running late because of Frozzy, but he's took the blame on it, so that's good. And I'm just looking forward to an actual decent week of wrestling.
And yourself, DP, with your beautiful face on camera?
Oh dear.
You caught me at an inopportune time having a drink of water. Here I go. Let's drink some water.
That's staying in.
What's happening?
That's staying
God,
in.
he's doing the pure life.
Yes, he is.
Oh. Sorry, mate, but the SummerSlam review was on Tuesday.
I'm so glad he did it.
Absolutely
I'm
outrageous.
so glad he did it.
Okay, I might as well attempt it now with my side up.
No, don't waste that. So, a lot of wrestling to get into this week, so let's roll straight into it. Right, take it away with SmackDown.
Can't believe what I've just seen. Anyway, so SmackDown, it was a bit good. So it started off with probably one of the best SmackDown matches I've seen in a while, which was Drew versus Sheamus in a good old-fashioned... What was it called? Good old-fashioned Doomsday Device, he said. Donnybrook. That's the one. So it started off pretty well. Drew came out, and then there was a jump start straight away. Sheamus didn't even have an entrance. He just ran behind and attacked Drew. Full-on brawl at that point. Shillelagh, surprisingly, because every weapon was a Shillelagh, being smashed off. The chair throw that Sheamus threw at Drew McIntyre was insane. It was a proper old-school ECW one. He tried to put his hands up, and he just went... Then Holland came down. He smashed a Shillelagh off the back of Drew that snapped in half. Then Holland got put through a table just to stop his precedence there. And then our Butch came down out of nowhere. He jumped off a stack of beer barrels, attacking Drew. Then Sheamus ended up hitting like a super white noise and got a near fall from that point. Then out of nowhere, Butch pulls out a super Shillelagh because that's a thing, but it's barbed as well, which is weird. And then, like, you get powerbombed through the table, and then eventually Drew hits a Claymore to pick up the win. Around at 4 1/4 stars. That was a very good start to SmackDown, and it was a very long event as well. It was a long match for SmackDown, yeah. Oh, it went nearly 30 minutes, supposedly.
The Super Shillelagh reminded me of, remember when Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins had the that stupidly sized hammer? That's what I thought.
The whack-a-mole hammer.
Yeah.
When Big Show had that massive steel chair in that TLC
Oh
match.
my God, I remember that, yeah.
So it was at this point that my microphone stopped working, so you'll get my voice over of what I was trying to say here.
Oh dear, well.
It's purely because the flag was the wrong way around.
Isn't that the rib you got with red in the Scotland flag?
That was just me playing about.
Yeah, no, it's literally reverse,
on the wrong side. So, different story. But
Sheamus is a big fan of Drogba. That's what I've heard. That's all it is.
Sheamus is a Liverpool fan.
I do really appreciate that he played into it as well.
Yeah, dual nations. So after it was all said and done, Drew picked up his like a segment after this, which basically was highlighting who he wants to face. He was calling Roman a part-time champ, which is kind of a hint towards Brock Lesnar at the time as well, because he was always a part-time champ recently. And like, he doesn't care if Theory's going to cash in because it's not happening. In general, was the old script. I keep forgetting this SmackDown was before SummerSlam because we've already reviewed SummerSlam, so I need to keep that in mind. We had a funny Corbin segment at that point because so they panned to McAfee. He was discussing with Cole, and then Corbin comes out of nowhere. He's got a ticket because that's a thing in wrestling. You got a ticket so you can come in. And he was proper winding up McAfee, and I loved it. Like, they were doing like the promo packages, and you could just hear Corbin shouting abuse at McAfee in the background still. Like, he had a ticket. I thought it was brilliant. And then eventually they decided to brawl, and it ended up with Corbin low blowing McAfee, which I didn't get to see till after SummerSlam, so it made more sense to me the end of the SummerSlam match, as we discussed. Had a Theory segment come up then, and he was just basically stating that everyone's jealous of him. Dolph, like Bobby, Drew, everyone's just jealous of him being Mr. Money in the Bank. Then Heyman appears out of nowhere, and he starts speaking to Theory, but the camera kind of pans away, so because it's secret discussion. This is where I get confused now, because I don't know if I missed this. Did they announce why Lacey Evans wasn't in this match?
They did mention it. I can't remember the reason they said, but they did mention Lacey.
Mm.
It was like,
I feel like it was referenced, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. She was supposed to be eventually fighting Aaliyah, and it was like, oh no, she's not there again. And Shotzi's there, and it's like, okay. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Shotzi, I'm going to be honest. She's so unique wrestling-wise. Like, she stands out a lot in the WWE roster. And she pulled a rib on Jericho by doing the Walls of Jericho. So that instantly makes me laugh because Jericho hates her because of the whole ripping the mick.
So, because of the amount of wrestling, I wanted to go back and rewatch some of the bits of SmackDown on the WWE YouTube channel. And the way they edited this together, I could have sworn that they just instantly time skipped or something. I could not keep up at all. Other than the fact that, yet again, Ronda Rousey was doing her Wild Thornberry's kid impression. With her meow, 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 meow. Like, it just was so jarring. And I know it's obviously not how it happened.
Yeah, I didn't see that. The way I saw it on my notes is that they had the match and then that promo happened afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just completely weird.
I think it was, because it wasn't how it showed it on the actual channel, the live show.
Lacey, by the way, wasn't medically cleared.
Okay. She had a fist punching Aaliyah in the face, I'm guessing. But yeah, so the main part of the match was Shotzi got Aaliyah in a Walls of Jericho, which I loved. And then he hit a finish, which is incredible. She calls it the Never Wake Up, but he looks grim as balls to take. I rated 2.25 stars. It was a fun match. It was more of getting Shotzi over, which is a good thing because of their NXT run. This was followed by, in my impression, it was Liv, Sonya, Ronda, and the whole Natty arguing backstage kind of thing. Rousey was Marty during the whole of this. Then she stormed down to the ring without any kind of question. Shotzi was about to say some stuff. She said, "Hello, Ronda," or whatever. And then Ronda basically said, "You failed your mum. You failed your mum," or something like that. That was her big segment. And then she beat the crap out of Shotzi.
Wild Thornberry's kid.
I've actually been on what Ronda said to that fan. So the fan was saying something at her. I don't know what the fan was saying. Mm-hmm. But she replied with, "You shut up, and your mum failed you."
Yep. So Ronda's a bit hot at the moment. So this led into Liv and Ronda versus Sonya and Natalya. So obviously they're playing into the dissension bit of Liv and Ronda, so they didn't really want to tag into each other. Liv was getting absolutely mauled for most of this match, which I don't know if that's a good thing, since she's the champion and she's getting mauled in every match. She wasn't tagging into Ronda, but then Ronda eventually got in and she kind of got like an ankle lock onto Deville, I believe, to pick up the win. I rated 2.5. It was fine. It was just the way they're booking Liv at the moment with that, and then obviously what happened with SummerSlam's a bit odd. Like, she's not being booked at all like a champion.
Yeah, it's not babyface booking.
Yeah, but it's not even like she's not being booked as like a face champion. Like, she's getting battered. And then at SummerSlam she tapped before the thing, but she wasn't bothered because she had the championship, so it wasn't even like a fair. Like, yeah, it's a bit odd booking.
Opposite Ronda.
Yeah. Well, she flipped out, didn't she? Then we had a weird segment with the Usos, the Profits, and Double J, which I discussed a bit on SummerSlam. Basically, doing a thing, they kept joking with Double J going, is it a DQ if I whack a chair off his head? Is it a DQ if I do this? And then Double J basically said all he is there for is to count the pin. He's not going to do anything else. That was a lie. Because at SummerSlam he did every referee decision known to man. He was counting, and yeah, so that was a big balls up of a lie. And then it just started with a brawl between everyone, and then one of the Usos super kicked Double J's head off in the dissension. And then I don't know if I should discuss this segment or if you want DP to discuss this, because my notes for this segment are 2 words. Which is the MMM segment. So I'll discuss it first. I written no bin. Now, and Max is back. There you go. So if you want to discuss it a bit deeper, you can.
Spoilers, but okay. So we go into initially.
So next after that, the Viking Raid.
You prick.
Oh, come on, don't be mean.
We kick things off with the new director of talent, Maxine Dupree. She basically introduces the first of the clients, being Marseille, for this 2022 beachwear collection. She proceeds to show him off, and he's posing. It's the usual stuff. So pose with the arse, get a bit of the quads in there, a bit of the thigh, bit how we all like it. And then I got some quotes here because I wrote them down because I'm me. So the first quote we have here is for Marseille's bit, where he says, sporting the trendy SummerSlam blue bathing shorts, perfectly accentuating the superbly symmetric quadriceps. He poses a bit more, and then we move on to Mansoir, who is, and I quote, styling the ultra-modern SummerSlam crop top, perfectly displaying the awe-inspiring structure of the abdominis. I don't know if I heard that right, but I know it meant like abdomen, but like the word used was abdominis. So
I'm surprised you don't know if you heard it right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I feel like you've watched this a
abdominal.
few times as well.
The abdominis region.
No comment. So yeah, as Rate here already spoiled, we see the founder and the whole general director of it all, Max Dupree. He appears. He says that they're still seeking for clients who can, who can inspire and embody the credence of the maximum male models. And then that just ends with Maxine saying the motto, which is to titillate the juices of your guilty pleasures.
Love it.
And that was
perfect.
The
perfect build up to the SummerSlam segment.
Mm-hmm. Which way? Which you see at the start of the show.
So in the main event, we had the Viking Raiders versus the New Day. There was a weird botch Rana at this point in the matchup. I think it was Hanson is one of them that he does the barricade. Well, it's Ivar at this point, isn't it? He does a barricade squash, which looked grim, like the crossbody on there. Was got a hot tag in. He was trying to get a bit of control, but it was never going to happen. Rose got an incredible kick. I'm calling them by the original names, Rowan and Rubin Hansen. Eric and Ivar.
All right, Rebecca
He's got an
Ross.
incredible knee. Then they just power bombed Woods to oblivion. I rated 2.5 stars. It was just pretty much a squash match with a bit more going on. And then Viking smash after this, and they full on break Woods' ankle with the chair. So Pillmanised his leg, basically. And to end it, we had Heyman in the ring. He was just hyping the SummerSlam match. Lesnar appears, then Theory appears, and then he basically ruins Theory, and then Drew appears to ruin Theory a bit more. End of SmackDown. How did we feel that was?
Good show.
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was decent, highlighted by the model segment, obviously.
Of course.
Highlighted by the Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus match, which was incredible. But let's move on quickly to Rampage Boy.
Hello. Rampage Boy here, drenched still. My shirt is not dried yet.
You deserve it as well.
So this was Rampage, Fight for the Fallen, 29th of July. We kick things off with a 6-man tag, and this time we got entrances. So we had Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh against the Best Friends and Iron Cassidy. To start things off, I've said here Jane is still a banging theme. I'm not getting bored of hearing it. It's just a great song. Other things though, we've got Sanjay who's in a suit, so he's clearly ready to wrestle. And then to start things off, we get the usual Cassidy antics, hands pockets, like he'll deep frog, duck down, etc. Keep up. The next thing I've got here is Satnam Smash, which is what he does for the next minute or so. Then we get a little spot when the Best Friends do their hug, like sort of like the Rainmaker pose, sort of like pan the camera out.
Give people what they want.
Exactly. Which is then broken up by a double lethal injection, which I thought looked pretty nice. This is then segued into Iron Cassidy and Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt presents pencil, he's a 7 pencil, doesn't happen. Cassidy breaks the pencil and then hits him with the orange punch for the 3 count. I honestly thought Lethal's team was going to win this match. I don't know why, because Dutt was in the team, but
it would make sense.
But we move on to a dark match. Or, sorry, should have been a dark match. Between Ethan Page and Leon Ruffin, who, for those of you who are not aware, was NXT's Leon Ruff.
Big difference.
Yeah.
He just added "in" to his name and thought that'll be okay. Well played, Tony Khan.
So this is literally just a a strength versus speed match. Nothing to it. Lasts less than a minute. Ends with the Ego's Edge, which is just a Razor's Edge, but Ethan Page does it. After we get an interview with Cole Carter, who's a former 2 Dimes. Again, NXT, if you don't know. He's interrupted by QT Marshall and the Factory, so a Go-Go, Solo, and I think it was Comoroto.
Yeah.
Just basically says, hey, join us. Carter's like, and that's it.
Yeah.
The thing is, his name doesn't even fit with the structure of it. It's just
And his name doesn't suit them. A Go-Go, Comoroto, Solo.
Yeah. Taro.
Taro.
So following this, we had my match of the night. So it was Lee Moriarty taking on Matt Sydal. This was a teacher versus student sort of match. We get things instantly. We're showing off to Lee Moriarty's viciousness, in that he's now more willing to do what he needs to do to get the match won. Whereas before he was more sort of follow the rules and I'll do what I can within the rules. So instantly, handshake, headbutt, Moriarty's in control. I thought it was a nice little touch to show a difference between them. This is a very high speed match from both guys, as you would expect, really, from the former Evan Bourne and Lee Moriarty. All we got here is it's mainly just Lee's got slower offense, but it's more critical, as opposed to Seidel's, again, high flying, sort of risky sort of maneuvers. This match, about halfway into it, the crowd are really into this at this point. We get a little appearance from Stokely Hathaway, who is the former Malcolm Bivens.
From NXT. Same as everyone.
He comes out, he's just staring for a bit. We get a spot basically where Seidel's on the top rope and Stokely gets onto the apron, distracts him, and it's like, "Whoa, my glasses." And then Stokely goes down, and then Moriarty brings him down and basically just takes control of the match from there. We get a flatliner from Lee, which is a 2 count, which is then followed into a Border City stretch, which is his submission finish. And he gets the submission win for Lee Moriarty. And then following the match, we get another sort of flashback to last week where we see Stokely in the ring with Lee, and he offers him his card for his services, the client services, and accepts it. So Stokely's got a new client among Jay Cargill.
Hopefully he's not a baddie.
It's a weird mix of
So
clients.
following from this, we got a promo from Britt and Rebel. I say Britt and Rebel, it was just Britt and Rebel doing. She just says how Tony and Thunder Rosa have the same goal in mind, so it's clever that they both keep each other within each other's sights. Basically trying to sort of drive a dagger between them. That was pretty much it. Then we get a whole segment, which I won't go through because it'll be on the YouTube, but it's basically just Claudio speaking about his world title win. He's then interrupted by he brings out Utah, and then it's then interrupted by Jericho, and they do a whole back and forth. And Jericho's like, "I'm going to fight you next week on Dynamite," and then that happens, and then that's settled. We get a music video from The Acclaimed. Again, we'll go through it. I'm not going to; it's too long. Basically, it's just proclaiming Trash Day, and it's just proclaiming that they're going to fight the Gun Club in a dumpster match. And then the main event, which is one we're all looking forward to, it was Ruby Soho against Anna J.A.S., formerly Anna J.
God, she is
This
so
match is
bad.
purely just to display Anna J, like her new sort of heel persona, new heel side of things. Thank you, right? There's really not much to this match. It's mainly all Anna, and any bit of offense Ruby gets in, Anna counters and goes back to the hand or the arm that Ruby injured herself by walking into that car door. But whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Anna wins with the Queen Slayer, which is her like a sit down submission chokehold. And that's Rampage. And we didn't get a post match assault this time.
Oh wow.
That you know of.
Post match assault.
There was a lot of
And it's on camera.
ex-WWE on this show.
Yeah, the former WWF.
That's what the new
So, yeah.
show is. I think it's going to be a women's show, and it's actually just going to be called WWF.
WWF Rampage.
Sponsored by the
Yeah,
World
that
Wide
was-
Life Fund.
That was the old Rampage. I will now pass on to Monday.
Monday Night Raw, pal. Let's get this kicking off.
Monday Night Raw.
Oh, the whole effing show. Let's go. So yeah, we kicked off with Becky. So she's obviously turned face since SummerSlam. She did it all for the women, and she's going to revert back to being the man. This was followed by Bianca coming down. Instantly, I wrote here, I don't get fashion. What was like? Bianca was wearing like the trousers, but like one leg was not legs.
I like to call them the Zack Ryder
I don't
pants.
get fashion. Like, obviously they respect each other, and then they discuss the control, and then out of nowhere the control appear. And I believe, is it that? I've not wrote the good notes here. I can't remember if they attack in the ring or if they don't attack in the ring, do they?
No, it's backstage.
The stare
They just
down,
come
yeah, and then they go
together
out
and
back,
walk
don't
back.
they? And Bianca's in the ring talking crap. And then all you see Panther backstage is the cameraman running, which is good. It isn't just the cameraman suddenly there. And Becky's getting absolutely battered by the Control, which is a team of the Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Bailey. Doesn't really go with the names. And Bianca starts running. She doesn't even get a chance to see what's happening in the ring.
So before she starts running, she's actually watching the Titantron for a good 20 to 30 seconds, watching them get beat down before she eventually takes off like she's Tails from Sonic games.
And then, all you see is her, like, slowly get out of the ring, and then she starts running, and she's got hair like this.
Tell you, Tails from the Sonic games just spinning.
Bianca is a chopper.
Yeah,
It's clearly because she's going to trip on it, which is fair enough. It just looks funny. I can't deny it looks funny.
She was just
she was it doesn't matter if she's angry or if she's happy. That whirls, baby.
like she was winding it up to hit someone when she got to where she was going.
If she wound it up that long, she hit someone now where their head was coming off.
Who's the real here? Who's the real heel here?
I found funny as well was when she got backstage, even though she had watched the full thing transpire, she was still going, "What
I want
happened?"
Becky just
What
to go
happened?
to her going,
What happened?
Yeah.
But what
And then
happened?
ran. We'll use the term "ran" very loosely. We
Yeah.
got there.
At least your hair was.
She skipped there.
Yeah.
So obviously this was basically getting Becky out storyline wise due to a shoulder being absolutely marooned in the SummerSlam match. This was followed by a package. I don't normally write the packages down, but like it was a good package on the US title. They were building, and they had JBL narrating and stuff like that. It was very good just to see that they're actually trying to build the US title. It's not just there. Then they had a segment with Jake Paul out back. Not Jake Paul, Logan Paul. On Twitter, basically discussing it. He's going to be around and he wants to tap people. And he wants to get more now because he's going to be around more. So that was generally that. So Logan Paul's going to be out for a while, I'm assuming, until he appears out of nowhere again. So following that, we had the first of the two triple threats that we were going to have tonight to decide both winners were going to face each other later on in the night. So the first one was Miz versus Ali versus Styles. Miz was injured, and this is how you sell an injury. The man was injured straight away, and he was injured for the whole of it. So even though he was injured, he was in control for a lot of the matchup. The Miz, which was surprising. It was a proper showcase match. Like everyone got their crap in. Miz looked good. Ali actually looked pretty decent, and obviously Styles is styled. Ali hit like an outside tornado DDT, and then the big part of this match was the finish. So Ali hit a 450 splash onto the Miz, and he bounced up like RVD would used to do with the frog splash. And Styles caught him with the Styles Clash onto the Miz to pick up the win. I rated this 3 stars. It was a very good opening match.
So I must have seen that finish on Twitter about 20 times, and honestly, I could have watched it another 20.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It was
Absolutely
incredible.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And Styles doesn't get to use the Styles Clash that much now, so I'm guessing Triple H just basically went, "No, you're using the Styles Clash." So yeah, I rate it 3 stars. Good opener for the show.
Then we had for a while as well.
Yeah, like we'll get to that going across. Also, what I forgot to mention in the SmackDown, because I'm counting how many segments / matches there are in each event now. So there were 7 segments and 4 matches, which isn't that bad of a kind of ratio. But we'll carry on from there. So we had the Control segment after this. They were just basically saying it's all about them, and they're going to be obviously taking the Raw by storm. They did a cool thing with the Usos coming through the backstage door at the time to kind of segue to a segment with them. They kind of had like a weird, like, you're right, and then they carried on. And then
No, it's
and the Usos are basically just showing that they're still champ and they're going to win again. Then we had a segment with Steph. Sorry, not Steph. Jesus wept. So Riddle is now like Randy, which is Steph said was basically the old thing. At least he's going to be with his best friend. Then out of nowhere, the Street Profits come down. I was like, oh god, why isn't Ford turned on Dawkins yet? So they were going to do a rock, paper, scissors to face Seth Rollins. And I did find it funny that they did do it and then Ford just grabbed the ref and ran down to the ring.
I appreciate I'm not usually a fan of the Street Profits promo, but I did get my kill at the line of Cody beat you with one booby.
One booby, yeah.
Classic.
So yeah, we had Ford versus...
Sorry.
Yeah,
they did sort of tease a little bit further with Montez's singles run.
It needs to happen.
Because it did something like they're not so used to seeing us separated like this.
Yeah. Like, he had a match with Reigns last year, I think it was, and it was an incredible match for I think it was for the title as well on SmackDown, and it was very good. But he should have a lot more singles runs.
Dawkins said he'd be good with it, so...
Yeah. So I'm happy for Ford to do my own thing, and I'll go get the 24/7 title. So moving on from that point. So Ford versus Rollins. So obviously Rollins was in control for a lot of this match because he's the veteran in the singles title concept. Instantly I wrote here because I hate it so much. They need to bin off this near fall 10 counts. We mentioned it on SummerSlam. I'm going to mention it at Raw again. Down at 9 and then suddenly convulses into the ring. It's like a controller glitch on a game where the frame jumps and he's in the ring and it's like, what's happened? So stupid. Ford had a comeback which was proper quick, so he was like on a roll at that point. Started going a bit back and forth at that point. Ford had his usual dive near fall, and then Rollins hit like a knee into his stomp to pick up the win. I rated 3.25 stars. It's a very good matchup, and like Raw was just great as we go along. But like that's 2 3-star matches which you'd never see on Raw normally.
Yeah.
And then he was going to batter Rollins a bit more, Ford a bit more, but Dawkins made the save. So continuing on that, we had Alexa Bliss versus Asuka. They're definitely building Bliss. You can tell she was a lot more control than she would do against Asuka normally. But then the control came down. There was a bit of back and forth, and the control came down to kind of deliver the beatdown. And I rated it 1 3/4. It was fine until that point, but you can't really rate it higher than that because of it being that kind of matchup. And then Blair came down to make the save. I don't know if she was twirling at that point.
Imagine.
So yeah, for those keeping count, this is the control.
Really controlling the
night so far. Yeah, so it's good to see him get actual time.
Dolph versus Ciampa versus Gable was the next match, which was the other half of the 2 triple threats. So they were double teaming Gable for a lot of this because obviously the other two were they're double teaming Dolph for a lot of this because the other two are heels, Gable and Ciampa. Gable was properly highlighted in this match, which I really liked as well. They showed he's an incredible wrestler. There was a few near falls, and then it became into like a desperation near fall kind of thing. Everyone was just trying to get quick pins, which is like how that you just should do it. Like if one wrestler's down, you need to get the pin before the other wrestler gets up. And then eventually this built to Ciampa picking up the win with a fairy tale ending, which Ciampa's obviously going to be shot to the moon right now, which I'm happy for. I rated that 3.25 as well, so 3 matches out of 4, all above 3-star in Raw. Absolutely fantastic.
Scary.
Paul.
Yeah. And then we had a short Ed segment where he said he felt betrayed, which he didn't need to feel betrayed, he got betrayed. And he's going to kill the Judgment Day. That was the whole of the segment, basically. This was followed by the Mysterios. They basically discussed that they're done with the Judgment Day. They're Edge's twins. And they're hyping the title match later. Dominic's just there going... That's his whole interaction in the segment. Here comes the Control again. So basically the Controller's saying now that the women's division is failing. Which, to be fair, except for Asuka and Blair and Becky for a while, like, not much has happened with the women's division, so there is a bit of hint towards it.
True.
This was followed by Bianca versus Io. So Blair was in charge for a lot of this match, which you'd expect because she's the bigger athlete, and she was like, the control then came down to ringside because they weren't out at that point, which they did a fun spot where they were brawling outside, and then the control sat on the apron, and Bianca was going to throw them in. The control just sat there. You never actually see that kind of thing. There was an incredible barricade bump at that point that looked horrible. Then Bliss and Asuka came down to kind of even the match. That's the word we're going for. So Bianca kept stopping any kind of Io momentum, which is fine because that's what she needs to kind of do. Both were interfering at this point, both like a Bliss and the Control, and then it just ended up in like a full-on brawl. I rated that 3.25 stars as well. I really enjoyed like the match up until that, and the brawl was fine for me because it built like it was building.
Yeah.
And like this is the first time that like 2 matches didn't end properly, but they were fine because they actually made sense.
Played havoc for my Raw predictions though, because I had Bayley on the show, and any other promotion I would have got a point for each time she appeared, but because she didn't physically win a match, I've got 0 points, which annoyed me.
Yeah.
So I've stopped doing weekly TV because it's too hard to do it, and the cards come out far too late anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just a pain, really.
Yeah.
But it was still good. I liked it.
That's an RGX rant.
Give me points.
A very
Prediction.
mild
I was going to
rant.
say that I'm also really glad,
Proud?
yeah, glad that
Proud.
Io Sky's entrance has not changed since NXT.
Oh,
Because,
music-wise,
it's,
yeah.
it's one of the best entrances in WWE.
Did anyone notice if they changed the Titantron?
They did change the
They have,
Titantron,
yeah.
yeah. That's what I thought you were trying to mention then.
I meant to look.
And they added a Y to the
Yeah.
EO.
So it's
I never
IYO.
noticed.
EO. EO.
Yeah.
It's for those Americans.
Yep, because EO is a hard word.
It's EO with a Y.
Io Shirai. Io Shirai.
I Sky? Call her Dave. So we had a segment with The Miz. He was just basically saying that AJ cheated. I don't know how he cheated, but AJ cheated. So we had the finals of the 2 triple threats, basically, which was Styles versus Ciampa. Booker T sucker, by the way, just because it's in Houston. Booker T on commentary.
He has a multiple time US
So
champion.
I was fine. So Ciampa was in control for a lot of this as well, which was good because he obviously is the heel at the moment as well. Styles is still as good as ever, by the way. Look, it just everything's flawless with him. Ciampa started hitting like a super reverse famouser. It's just it's like a super famouser. It's like the reverse of the Zack Ryder Rough Rider.
The Katara Crusher that Kane does.
Yeah.
That Omega does.
Yeah, it's just he's just suddenly out of nowhere started hitting it. I don't know if he was doing it beforehand.
It's basically a leg lariat from behind.
But it's from behind, yeah. So there's a few close near falls at that. Ciampa was about to lose the match, but the Miz was out there, so he put the foot on the rope to get the 2 count. And then Ciampa ended up picking up the win. I rated that as my match of the night, and I rated that 3.5. I really enjoyed that matchup.
Other than SummerSlam,
very,
it was
very
my
good
match
matchup.
of the week.
Yeah, very, very good. Drew versus Sheamus took it from me. Yeah.
I think mine
There's
is
only like 2 people who can work.
I think mine is Sheamus and Drew.
Yeah, that's what mine would be. Then we had a small Lashley moment, which he was basically discussing his opinion on Ciampa, saying he's going to beat him, but he's a worthy opponent. Then we ended with the Mysterios versus the Usos for the title. The Usos were in control for a lot of this match. It was quite back and forth after that. There was a few really close near falls with Ray picking up the win. And then out of nowhere, I was really enjoying this match, I'll be honest. It was probably one of the best Mysterios as a tag match you'll see. They hit the 1D to pick up the win. I did rate that 3.5 stars as well. Like I really was in that match. I don't know why, but it was a very enjoyable match. And then Usos came out to beat the Mysterious down a bit, but then Edge comes out to kind of even the odds because the Judgment Day came down before that. Because I thought it was over, but it's never going to be over. And it ends up with Edge spearing Dominic on accident because I think it's one of the Usos pushed him into the way, or the Finn Balor pushed him into the way. Keep mentioning Usos.
Rhea.
Rhea, that's it, yeah. I watched wrestling. Obviously, it ended with Ray being kind of like, what the fuck did you do? They'll never check the replays or VAR. To go, hold on.
What I've found really creepy, in all honesty, is the amount of Rhea stans who have been posting about being jealous of Dom being choked out in the corner. Like, it's just super creepy.
Yeah, so I think it's because there's so many of them. Like, it's funny for the odd person to do a joke, but when there's like 10,000 people going,
The thing is, there's so many of them, like for each wrestler as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that when you see it once or twice, you think, oh, it's a bit of a funny meme. But then you start seeing it over and over again for thousands of accounts. It's like proper creepy levels of standing. And I hate that about Twitter. It's just, ugh.
I think it's as well, without going into deep in this, because I don't really want to, it's a kind of fetish thing, isn't it? Because she's it's like a dominatrix kind of thing, isn't it? Because the way she looks.
It's the Resident Evil Village thing, like Dimitrescu.
Yeah, she's the kind of person that she could pick you up and bang backbreak you. You know? But yeah, Raw was incredible. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Give me more Raw like that.
Yeah.
Did any of you notice? I'm not sure if it's a more regular thing or not, but
there was no MMM.
No. I could be wrong here. But indie wrestler Rachel Rose, was she a medic or like an ENT sort of?
I didn't notice. To be honest,
I didn't.
She appeared several times in the show. This woman, and it looked a lot like her, but I wasn't sure if it was her.
So we'll tag her in the video and let's see if she has.
See, to be fair, they use indie wrestlers
so probably chance.
Extras and enhancement talent all the time.
I just saw her face. I was like, hang on, is that?
But yeah, so that was the end of Raw. So there was 9 segments at all, probably 10 because I didn't count the pool one, and there were 7 matches. So like for a 3-hour show, that's very good. And then keep this number because when I mention what happened at Dynamite, so we're gonna go right into that.
Yeah, bear in mind all the people who are Matt's fans would have came back for this.
Just use one whole half hour of the show on the first promo.
Yeah, like Liv wasn't just standing in the ring for like 20 minutes while everything else was happening.
Yeah, it wasn't like
so we'll kick off on to Dynamite, the last of the week. So what did Dynamite do to sway the WWE advances? So we kick off with Jay Lethal versus Orange Cassidy. So the first thing that you're going to see if you tune into this after WWE is the best friends doing that really like cartoony kind of thing where you stand on one of the shoulders and have a trench coat over you. That's what you're going to see. Good grief.
Reference.
So after that, Jay Lethal was working on Orange Cassidy's leg. The match was fine after this. Lethal was full control. Cassidy was actually selling the leg quite well in this match. Like he never forgot it. It was like always like if he went for the orange punch, he would suddenly go, "Actually, my leg is fecked." And then Lethal won with the lethal injection. So it's nice to see Lethal win on Dynamite. I'm gonna be honest. I rated 2 3/4. It was a good match, good opener.
Yeah, absolutely.
So bear this in mind, a lot of lapsed hardcore fans would have come back with the whole Vince McMahon leaving WWE and to see what shakes out of that. What they're greeted with all the people who said, oh, you should be watching AEW instead, many of them would have checked out this week. And they got Orange Cassidy, a guy that if they've not been watching for 3 years, they'll have no idea who he is. And the other guy wasn't that guy that was Black Machismo in TNA. He's still wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't have known who these people are. How is that meant to take advantage of that heightened interest and pull those fans back in and try and steal some of the returning fans from WWE. You need casual fans and just not doing enough to try and pull them in.
Not like the greatest of things, especially because we were discussing in the chat and I was going like they booked the cards in advance quite a lot, but this wasn't a match that was booked in advance, if I remember either.
And it didn't need to open the show either. They could have put anything in this
They
spot.
announced the thing off Rampage, I think.
Okay. But yeah, they had enough time. Like SmackDown happened by that point, so it's gone like, you know. Oh no, actually it happens. Oh fuck no.
Yeah, I suppose.
But
as I say, they gave that poor lassie, Kat Dennings, a lot of crap for wanting to watch WWE instead. They needed to take advantage here and put on a big show that would have caught that interest. By sticking rigidly to the course, they've dropped the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So where they go from here, I have hopes for next week, but if you're a returning fan, this wasn't the episode that pulled me back in and made me think I'll watch AEW instead.
they're saying in the chat as well, next week looks good, so if they mess up next week, then I don't know what's happening. There's some good matches on that card. So basically Lethal was talking smack. Wardlow came down. It's Wardlow's world.
It is not over.
It's never been over. Why is he still persisting with this? They're going to face each other at the Battle of the Bounce. Battle of the Bounce, as usual, is a free card event which champions are never going to lose their title. I don't think a champion's ever lost at Battle of the Bounce, and it's going to continue.
Well, maybe.
The free.
It's super predictable.
Yeah, because you've got Cesaro versus Takeshita. Cesaro's not losing his title. You've got Thunder Rosa versus Hater. Thunder Rosa's not losing to Hater. And then you got Wardlow versus Jay Lethal, which he's not losing.
Yeah.
Hater's not picking up the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand the booking with Jay Lethal. Don't get it. Like, how can you have a feud with Samoa Joe for a smaller title, arguably, and lose, and then go straight to Wardlow? How does it make sense? It doesn't.
Wrestling.
Because when's him losses matter?
I know. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry. I apologise for all you AEW stands out there.
So following on from that, we had the Undisputed Elite, which was this segment was too rushed for me. Like I think they've pulled the trigger too quickly on this. Basically, what happens is Cole was saying that to the Young Bucks for the trio titles, you can't team with me because I'm injured. You can't team with Kyle O'Reilly, and if you're not going to team with Fish, you can't team at all. And then they just battered the Young Bucks, and then this led to Adam Page coming out to save the Young Bucks, which is just
and the most horrible jeans I've ever seen.
Like they proper rush this segment. Like it's going to sound like I'm burying AEW this week, but it's not the greatest of cards. Like there's some good matches on here, but it's just they're rushing things.
Yeah.
100%. Like I'm not a fan of the Bucks anyway, as most people know. But I felt this made
because there wasn't major matches on this card. Like they said, there was good wrestling.
I think if Raw did happen the way it was, then there's there's no comparison then.
Yeah.
Or say Raw was like the same it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Then
it's still not the greatest of AEWs this week either way.
Yeah, even compared to last week, it wasn't.
So then we had Mox spitting a segment which basically he doesn't care who wins the title contendership match between Utah and Jericho. Whoever he faces in the ring, he shows no respect and he's going to win. Shoulder. Yeah, shoulder rubs. So then we had Cage straight after in a segment because we need all the segments we can get. So Cage is funny, I'm going to be honest. Like he was going like, I can't believe I don't bring up people's personal lives. After he already said that it's not my fault that his parents are bad. And then out of nowhere, here comes Jungle Boy in a car to try and run Cage over. So it looks like he's going for the loose cannon kind of role at the moment. It's like he's just mental, which is fine.
He did it for The Rock.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, did you see how fast that car was going?
Oh yeah, if Cage is dead, if that is too bad.
It's a really nice BMW.
So this was followed by Thunderstorm versus, I was trying to think of a name for Britt Baker and Hater, but it's hard with Britt Baker's name. Dr. Hater wrote here. So, Brater. Dr. Brater. There we go. Sounds like a very bad WE, like 1996 wrestler.
Someone's being called next week now, you know that.
Dr. Brater. So it was quite back and forth. Hater needs a singles run. This is what I wrote here at this point. Like, she needs to get away from Britt Baker. She's good enough to be on her own. There was a super air raid crash. That breaker hit. The Jesus, like there was a pin combination, and Thunder Rosa came off the top, and it head stomp. I genuinely think she had like double foot stomped Hater and like full on in the head. Like there was no kind of like give or take in that move. At this point, the ref had no control. Every wrestler was in the ring, and the ref was just going. And then out of nowhere, Rainmaker, and Hater took the win. Fucking the Rainmaker for a win. I don't know.
I'm just glad it was a different finish. It was good to see Hater get some momentum.
Yeah, I was just hoping they panned out the camera when she did it, just like, Okada style. And then this was followed by a kind of backstage thing with Ty and Sammy. Are they actually legitimately engaged now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
That's a Saturday.
I've never seen such a mess of a thing in the real world.
It's wild. It is wild how quickly it's all
It can only end badly. Like, I can't see it well.
So, like, they're two very unlikable people, but sometimes that works well.
And then they're both going to eventually weasel into each other, and it's just going to be poison. It's like the NWO being injected. I hate everyone. So yeah, they had a weird wedding-y kind of vibe package, and then Eddie comes on the screen going, "What the fuck is this?" That's basically what. No one cares. I've signed a contract. I'm going to fight you at the next pay-per-view. Sign it, blood and guts.
Yeah.
So following this, we had a little bit with Taz basically saying that Team Taz is done. No shit. Do you know what I mean?
We were only really the tag team at that point anyway, so it does make a lot of sense.
It sounds really weird as well that Taz was going like I have nothing to do with this. Huck, Taz, Huck, Powerhouse Sub Starks. I wish you the best of luck. Huck's your son, Taz.
At least now you'll be able to focus on putting everyone over and not just comparing to Team Taz.
I'm glad they put him on commentary more now. I enjoy Taz's commentary.
Yeah, I like Taz's commentary.
Oliver, please.
Yeah, knockbait. So Powerhouse Hobbs for Ren Jones. Weirdly enough, I rated Ren Jones like last week in my review video. He had a squash match which he won. In this time around, he got murdered by Powerhouse Hobbs. I rated a quarter stars because it was literally just murder. Then Starks came down. He threw a few punches at Powerhouse Hobbs, and then this was followed by more murder. Powerhouse Hobbs literally spine busted him through the floor.
So this basically was just only a slight step above Sean Stasiak for me.
Yeah.
Like bang reaction there, fly in.
Honestly, like Hobbs got one of the best spine busters that I've seen.
Oh yeah, it's a brilliant spine buster. There's a reason he uses it. His finish, it makes it look so good.
So after this, we had Miro package. Why is Miro not wrestling? What's going on? Why is Miro in the void again?
He's questioning his god.
He's just always in the void. Like, just get him wrestling. It's Miro.
Yeah,
he's in the void all the time. So yeah, it's prolonging the Black feud. I don't know when it's happening, if it's happening. Then we had a Derby mini segment, which is basically him versus Brody King in a coffee match next week.
So as someone with a lot of tattoos, I know for a fact he wasn't tattooing his hand. It was biro, because there was not
He's a man,
drop
though.
of blood
He
there
He's
at all.
better than the Andrade.
Like, I've got loads of tattoos. Like, It was clearly a viral.
The Andrade match.
Yeah. So following this, we had the match that we were all looking forward to was Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage.
Wait, before you do.
What?
It was hour 2, which meant we had Jim Ross.
I'm the bitch.
Yeah, I was going to say that Indiana Ross came out, did he?
It's the band, the marching band. I couldn't think how it went. He's got the cowboy hat and everything.
He just went full Indiana Jones.
He's got the cowboy hat. It worked. So yeah, Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy, yay. So Hardy was in control a lot more than this match should have. Christian Cage should have ran through Hardy. But nope. Christian Cage did a spot where he was supposed to have kneed Matt Hardy into the stairs, but the camera angle ruined it completely, and it just looked like he did the Mick Foley knee on the stairs for no reason. This was a lot closer than it needed to be. There was a table spots because we need a table in a not a normal singles match. And then he hit the kill switch to pick up the win. I rated 2.5. It was average, but it was just an average match. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, there was no point in having it on TV with no bells.
Actually, because that's a rivalry, that is. Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage. And they mentioned on commentary we just need a Dudley down here to ref. You know, so they mentioned stuff. Christian was about to blast Matt Hardy some more, but then Jungle Boy made the save. Garcia was backstage discussing his big win against Brian Danielson. Jesus wept. I'm going Jim Ross.
Dragon Slayer.
That's a thing now. Then Paige had a segment, Ethan Page. Why am I not on TV? Why is this happening? Why are you cheering for me because you don't buy my merch? Then Hathaway comes down and gives him another card. I didn't know he gave him a card in Rampage, but so it's just another card, so he's added to his card collection.
It's funny how he moaned about not being on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, plus the fact that, what happened to American Top Team, Dan Lambert will have a contract with him, sure.
No, it's because he was second Striddle, weren't he? In that as well.
Yeah, but if you're representing American Top Team, there's a lot of legal and marketing stuff there.
Yeah.
So
unless it's some sort of build up to sort of Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky sort of feud.
Let's break up more tag teams.
So, following that, do we think a match happened? Do we think another segment happened? Segment, here we go. So it's the Jazz Society. Le Champion, he's going to be Le Champion. Then Anna Jay is going to choke everyone, and she chokes someone, and it's like, why have they ruined Anna Jay in 2 segments?
It's so bad.
It's not. It's the booking of us worse. That's what's made it worse. Like, Anna Jay's fine, but they've made her absolute dick. It's because she's Ty's best mate, though, isn't it? So they just kind of lured her to it.
It's like they've seen the BT thing with Statlander.
Yeah.
And that worked. I was like, let's do that again, but on TV and with someone else.
Yeah, let's not do it with Statlander. So then we had the match, which was the Acclaim versus the Gun Club in a dumpster match. They attacked, the Acclaim kind of attacked the Gun Club just before the match kicked off. Bowen then had the good old the rap. The main line was he mentioned Vince McMahon retiring. Edgy. So that was a thing. Then they started fighting, and then eventually two of them rolled in the ring, and then Aubrey rang the bell. It's a dumpster match. Why do you have to be in the ring to start the match? Okay. So there was I'll be honest, some of the moves were good in it. Like the power bomb into the dustbin the dumpster looked very good. And then they got Bowens in there, Caster in there as well, and then they just stopped them before the power bit. Brawling around the ring a bit, went to the entrance. I think it was Colton that was on top of the entrance.
Was Austin?
No idea. The Gun Club, one of them were on the top of the entrance.
Yeah.
And then he was stalling, and every man and his dog knew that someone was going to come up behind him. And then here comes Bowens. And then what ruined it for me, AEW do this a lot, and they need to work out something. He threw him into the dumpster, and it looked like a cool spot until the packing peanuts came up. Yeah. And it was like, it's just the softest landing in the world. They need to figure out, like WWE do, of making it look grim and having it safe, but not making it look like, oh, he's landed into a...
You can just
like the amount of times it's happened. So you had that with them. You had the Jericho fall, which he looked like he landed on a bed, which was the Shotzi gif, which still makes me laugh. The love is like onto a bed. Sammy Guevara's one where he landed as well. It's just everything they do. It just looks like it's going poof, and it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's just the production. Yeah. And then this ended with both mass boys being thrown in the dumpster. I rated 2.5. It was just a bit meh for me, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, this was all about trying to emulate the same spot that their dad was in with Foley.
The outlaw spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was funny watching them try.
I was hoping they did a spot where they had Chainsaw Charlie come out the flipping the dumpster. That would have been cool. Terry Funk did.
It's just Chuck Taylor with a chainsaw.
In his trench coat with Trent underneath him. Followed by what's going to be a slobber knocker. Cesaro versus Takeshita is going to be a great match. Takeshita's not going to win. He's always going to be the bridesmaid. He's always going to be in a great match, but he's never going to win in AEW, it seems, in the big match.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a banger of a match. And then this was followed by the main event, which was Yuta versus Jericho, which was, to be fair, a decent main event. Yuta was in control for a lot of it because Jericho seemed a bit gassed, I'm going to be honest. The Jazz Society came out of the points at that point, but then obviously Claudio came down before just to kind of even the odds. And then the Jazz Society got ejected. And what I liked about this as well is that because they got ejected, Cesaro went, I don't need to be down here anymore, which is fine. So Yuta did Suplex City, like about 6 suplexes, German suplexes. There was a cool spot where he dived off the top rope and Jericho caught him into a code breaker. Yuta got the Regal stretching, and it took Regal to tell the other commentators, this is my move, by the way, let's mention this. Like, the other commentators were going, la, 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 and then Regal was like, oh, by the way, this is my finisher. Like, it's good, we probably should mention this finisher, because it's my finisher. And they were like, oh, yeah? Bitch. And then Jericho went Floyd. The referee stopped it. He low-blowed Yuta. So Yuta sold his being low-blowed for about all of 7 seconds. And then he got into the seatbelt pin and nearly beat Jericho. And then Jericho eventually got the Walls of Jericho in for the second time, which was more of the Lion Tamer version of it, and picked up to win. I rate that 3 stars. Good match. Like, some stuff that griped me. It said, like, I hate where people don't sell the low blow. As a man getting kicked in the groin, I ain't doing a seatbelt pin 6 seconds later in desperation. I'm crying. Yeah.
So obviously Mox comes out for the save at this point, but he's like walking through the crowd. He's normal.
And then they had a segment with Moxley and Jericho where basically Jericho said he's going to stretch. Yeah. Moxley like the dungeon.
So as you say, instead of coming out the tunnel, which would be the quick way, he decides to go his usual way through the fans. So he's walking, he's not even running, coming all the way down and around, and he could have been there in 10 seconds. He's added another 10 seconds on, all while his mate, who's supposed to be his protege, is stuck in that hold and he's not rushing to save him.
Everyone has their gripes. Some people walk around the whole arena. Some people twirl their hair when they're going to save you. It's the worst.
I'm just being fair. If we're going to call out Bianca for it, then it's only fair that we call out Mox for it as well.
Yeah. So that was the end of Dynamite. So there was 6 matches and 11 segments.
Wow.
So many, and it's 2 hours. Raw's 3 hours, and I don't understand. Just stop pigeonholing people into the event. Have longer matches and stop pigeonholing, because Moxley was on there twice, and wrestling.
If you watch them 3 shows, because we'll discount Rampage, no one watches that.
Rampage boy.
But yeah, if you've watched them 3 shows, then you're not gonna pick anything else other than WWE.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Sadly, this was their big opportunity, and to me, they've kind of blown it slightly. Even just comparing to last week. So yeah, I can't even remember what I was saying here. I think I'm beginning to
Because
wrap up
DP
the
wants
show.
to sign into Google.
I've been very tired. I've been hit with loads
fine,
of
I'm
tech
tired.
issues.
What I've always wanted.
See, between lack of sleep, tech issues, loads of work stuff going on, I am an extremely tired RGX. It's not any of your guys' fault. It's not the fault of any one thing. It's just a combination, and I am tired. So that was our show this week. We do have some really cool projects coming up. You might see a video already in your feed for this coming Monday at 7:30 BST. I know how it's turned out, but we have an interview on the channel
good,
for
boys.
the first time. So Ray interviewed George Lydon, who is the Kamikaze Pro Live champion. It's a very good and entertaining interview. Really proud of the work we've done and my editing on the back of it. So please hit the notification button on that to notify when it goes live. We'll be in the chat during the premiere to answer any questions that you might have as well on it. But yeah, do the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Our links are in the description, including our show Twitter, which is at honor_club.
There's also Pokemon.
Muted.
That's for the Discord.
Yeah, it doesn't exist in my universe, but
Pokemon.
So thanks everyone for watching. We will see you for the next video, which will be a Sporkle video yet to be decided on Saturday. Join the Discord, follow our
Adios.
Twitter.
bonjour.
Sayonara.
Take care, everyone.
A sayonara.
Lovely jubbly.
Bye for now. Bye.